named one of the greatest hit authors of all time. His name is YANN MARTEL. His favorite book and most famous book, Life of Pi, has won the Booker Award. Today, we'll be exploring all of these concepts in this episode. Bum ba 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 bum bugga bum bugga bum bugga bum bugga bum bugga bum. Dark dark to the dark 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 Shana. All right, we're on live. Yay! Okay. First of all, today we'll be talking about YANN MARTEL. This guy right here. YANN MARTEL. Now, who is YANN MARTEL? YANN MARTEL is a Canadian author who has been one of the greatest authors of all time. He might be Canadian, but however, in his most famous literature, Life of Pi right here, it was in the perspective of an Indian boy. I'll use black since I don't have brown inside my database colors. From an Indian boy, even though he was white. Has been able to put the perspective of these whites into black perspectives for India. And this was what a lot of people were thinking back then, that India was pretty useful in a lot of ways. But sometimes, I guess, YANN MARTEL was like, there are not a lot of Indian books that are popular out there. So, why don't we write Life of Pi? And that's how it won the winner of the Man Booker Prize. So here is the origin for the Man Booker Prize. This guy right here is called Booker. Yes, literally, Booker. Actually, let me use a different color range. Booker. Now, this guy decided to make a medal where it will be named after him. The Man Booker Prize. After he won a medal for this book, that is. Yeah. Now, YANN MARTEL was one of those people who had not that much of a life that is known about him. Well, at least to me, that is. First of all, I only know that he was a Canadian. But however, he was born somewhere in Spain. And he won the Man Booker Prize. On 2002. And now let's get into the notes. Pop that out, go zoom out. Alright, here is YANN MARTEL. YANN MARTEL has finished his second novel, and then one day he starts writing his third novel, Life of Pi. And here is the plot for the Life of Pi story. It will be pretty short, so I hope you don't mind about that. Unless you're looking for a Life of Pi video, that is. Right, so here is Life of Pi. First of all, there is a boy who was born in India. And then his parents go onto this ship called the Simpson. And then during the way, the ship sunk. And then Pi was the only survivor. And then, being the only sole survivor, he has to survive for over 200 days, but less than a year. And he had to survive with a tiger. And which was kind of scary. And also he kept distance by using a raft. How he done this was some simple mathematical equations in his head and some science. Yay, science! And during the times he went on to some of these, he started to do some more great things. YANN MARTEL made Pi a vegetarian. making him only eat vegetables or eco-green stuff. But then later he had to start eating meat because without the meat he would have died. But it was worth it. Then one day they arrive onto this strange island. Where there was a lot of mysteries in it. There was a lot of mysteries in the island. First of all, in the movie, it showed it as a shape of a human, and they both showed that both the movie and the book showed that the lakes there were poisonous at night, but great at days. That was pretty surprising, if you ask me. And then the next day, and then the day after, 2 days after they arrived onto the island, they left. Once they reached the shores of Canada, Pi fell down and the tiger went away. Then Pi was interviewed in a hospital by 2 people where he also said his own story, but then when they said, "We do not believe it," he then said another story that goes on like this. First of all, there was a guy with a broken leg. Actually, let me zoom in. First of all, there was a guy with a broken leg, and then from that broken leg person, the cook was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill you," and killed that person. Killed him. Then his mother was like, "Hey, don't kill each other." And she was killed. Then finally, Pi himself killed the cook himself, and he was the only sole survivor of the Sinsum. How inconvenient. Now, there are some parts of the story that match, but we won't get into large details about it. Parts of the story match with some parts of the original story. However, since we don't know which story is true, he said, "Hey, do you want to believe the one with animals or the one with human deaths?" And they were like, okay. We will choose the animal version. And that's why the report came out with the animal version. During the animal version, there was a lot of things that happened in the story that I cannot cover out. And by the way, in the author's note of the book, he wrote that he got a story from an Indian. However, this was actually fake. YANN MARTEL actually faked this part, even though it is an author's note. And that is where I want to end part of this episode. Now, YANN MARTEL has also written his own autobiography, this book called Self. Let me use green. Actually, it's too blendy. Let's use white. And then he wrote this book called Self, where it talks about his own autobiography, kind of, and his known novels. This won't be continued into too much time since we're running out of time. And as I said earlier, this was the guy who invented the Booker Prize. And that's basically it for this episode. Now, I have a question about YANN MARTEL for you. Research about YANN MARTEL on Google, and then I want you to answer this question. What parts of YANN MARTEL do you like about his life? Write them in the comments below. And I'll see you in the next episode. Shinhan out. Peace!